All right, so let's get started. So welcome back everybody to the security stream for the GSE virtual conference. And I feel like I'm a stuck record now, but my name's Jamie Pease. I'm the chair of the security working group if you're joining us for the first time. Before I hand over to our next presenter, just a quick reminder on feedback. So if you could complete that for previous sessions, we'd be most grateful. And just to kind of give you a heads up, a couple of things. We've got right after about 5 o'clock UK time, we've got the keynote session with Broadcom. It's Greg Lotko, who was with us at the GSE conference in November. Is a fantastic presenter, so hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. And a quick date for your diary: Thursday, the 29th of June, we are having our security working group meeting. We're doing a hybrid, so we'll be having we're trying to find a venue at the moment somewhere in the UK to hold that, but we'll also be opening up for Zoom as well, so you're very welcome to join us. And if you are interested in presenting at that event, then please drop me an email. And on the talk of email, by the way, any of the presenters, any of the sessions that you've joined and you want to reach out to the presenters, many of the presenters have offered to, if you want to email them with any questions that you've got, just click on the agenda, click on their profile, you'll see on their name, and then their email address should be displayed there. But anyway, let's get back to the moment in hand. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome back Steve Hosey. We were just trying to remember, weren't we, Steve? We were talking in the just a few moments ago when you were first when you last joined us in the GSE security working group. I think it's a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Right. So welcome back. And you see, he's in a lovely magical background there with all the snow, very appropriate for the time of year. So welcome back, Steve, and the stage is yours, sir.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure to present at the GSE Security Conference and with all of the professionals online and those that are offline. Greatly appreciate everybody who works in this field, helping to secure your data, my data. You never know what mainframe or what system your data may be on, or what my personal may be on, and it's so important that we all work together to have a better secure world. So I'll start. Hello, everyone. Oh, wait. I just received an urgent note. As your fellow teammate, I must share this with all of you. Gordon Bennett, this note just notified me 2 days ago at 2:45 a.m. An unauthorized change was made to the mainframe. It appears that Mr. Tom Smith dynamically APF authorized his own personal load library, and that allowed him to circumvent all normal security and system controls. And in the following 9 hours, Mr. Tom Smith had downloaded all of the customer sensitive data. My data was on that mainframe, and so was yours. For crying out loud, we're going to be on the news. CNN. Tonight at 6 p.m. This is really bad. Did you know that happened 48 hours ago? Were you alerted to that 2 days ago? Let's stop and ponder for a moment. What could have alerted us to these bad actor actions 48 hours ago and allowed us to take proactive measures to have stopped the carnage? Welcome to the session on what just happened that compromised your mainframe. My name is Steve Hosey, and I continue to enjoy my journey with mainframes and cybersecurity. My journey started back in 1986, where my first 7 years were as an active duty Marine, working on IBM mainframes and top secret security. The fact of the matter, in the 40 years between 1966, when the Marine Corps received its first IBM mainframe, and 2006, when the MOS, or Military Occupational Specialty, was terminated, there was less than 5,000 Marines who have served working on IBM mainframes in the IT field or the 4000 field. I'm one of those. It's been an amazing journey, 36 plus years, and I love working with all of you, helping you find solutions to our modern cybersecurity challenges on the mainframe. Outside of cybersecurity and the mainframe, I enjoy the great outdoors here in Colorado. We live at 7,600 feet, and this photo was from a couple of weeks ago when we had a good snowfall. Today, it's that beautiful blue sky out, and we still have snow on the ground, just not so much in the trees. I enjoy traveling, and I look forward to hopefully coming to your location later this year at the GSE conference. I enjoy family time and construction, as well as designing and creating fine jewelry. That's a whole nother journey of my life. Today's agenda. How would you know if some bad actor had compromised or taken some bad actor actions that compromised the mainframe, the applications, and the sensitive data? We're going to touch on the difference between proactive versus reactive. Of course, we're going to talk about cybersecurity or security continuous monitoring on the mainframe. We're going to touch upon what is a playbook and different examples, and why should you have one when it comes to security continuous monitoring? Who are the important players in the playbook? Who should you notify? What action should be taken and by whom? And of course, we're going to touch upon what are the critical areas that should be monitored and how often should the monitoring be done? So let's start with something that's very important to all of us. Our personal security. The personal security of you and your family. Many of us may have security systems and alarm systems installed at home. We may have put in video cameras. I know that in 2021, the Ring camera, although a bit confusing perhaps by the laws in the UK, but the Ring camera came to the UK where you can press a doorbell and you, the homeowner from afar, can see who's at your door. Or you can find who's snatching the packages. God forbid that happens. We also have smoke alarms installed in our homes, so that when we're sleeping at night, we know the safety and security of our families is so well taken care of. If there's a fire, they're alerted to get out. We know we have, more often than not, a CO2 or carbon monoxide monitoring system in our homes to ensure that oxygen, the air, is safe to breathe while we're sleeping at night. These are all very proactive steps that we take in our personal lives, performing security, continuous monitoring of those areas that could have an adverse and very negative impact to our lives and the lives of our families, those we love and care about. There are some critical monitoring that we do in our lives. And in critical monitoring, this is also proactive and continuously done. If you happen to be diabetic and you're not monitoring your glucose levels as much as you should be, you could end up in the hospital or far worse. If you're in the hospital, the care teams will connect you to all sorts of equipment that are continuously monitoring your heart, the oxygen levels, your glucose levels, and so many other items that are critical to your health. And if any of those monitoring goes out of the allowed range, there will be a real-time alert to your care team, and they'll be running down the hall to check on you and see what they need to do. Monitoring glucose levels is just one example of critical monitoring in our personal lives if you happen to be a diabetic. There's many others. Another area that we do continuous monitoring in our own personal lives and for our families is identity theft monitoring. We pay services to monitor our private personal data. Is it on the dark web? Is it being sold? Has it been compromised? And hopefully you're doing that on a proactive basis, as opposed to finding out that your data was just compromised, and oh my gosh, they just stole all your retirement funds. What are you going to do next? So proactive versus reactive. Proactive is before the threat. And of course, reactive is, I got sick, now I'm in the hospital because I did not monitor my glucose levels. I can't imagine being reactive and not having a smoke detector in my home to only take action after we had a fire, and God forbid the loss of family life or my own. I want to be proactive, and I think all of you can see where the value of being proactive is. When we look at proactive monitoring in the professional world, we may review change logs and validate configurations once a week. But how many times during that week were things changed and changed back? If an insider happens to know that every Monday at 10 a.m., there's an automated process that runs and compares the current value to the previous value and presents a baseline report. Well, how many times did they change things back at 9:30 or 9 a.m. Monday morning after they had malicious intent the prior week? You don't know. Honestly, we don't know. And quite frankly, none of us know what happened 2 days ago at 2:45 a.m. until we were on CNN News tonight at 6. Another area of proactive monitoring that's already being done on the mainframe. In fact, most organizations have spent millions of dollars in budget to ensure performance monitoring over the past few decades on the mainframes. There's many really solid solutions for performance monitoring in the mainframe. SysView is just one of many. When we talk about performance monitoring in the mainframe, it is an example of continuous monitoring that's been done for decades and provides real-time alerts to ensure there's no roadblocks for batch processing online, ensuring that your end users have that sub-second response time, whether they're on platform or off platform through CICS interfaces or other onlines, whether it's DB2, IDMS, and so forth. It's all about ensuring the availability of the system, the applications, and the sensitive data. When your spouse is trying to pay for groceries at the grocery store, you don't want that transaction to fail because of unavailable systems. And that's where we're monitoring performance. It's been done for decades. While we may not think about performance monitoring, the use of SysView and other tools as such, as part of cybersecurity, it is really all about monitoring and ensuring the availability of the applications, system, and data. And availability is actually one of the important legs of the CIA triad. That's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. For decades, we've been monitoring availability. I believe it's time now for organizations to spend budget and plan and implement security continuous monitoring. That is monitoring with real-time alerts of the critical areas within the operating system and security that could adversely impact the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the data, the applications in the mainframe. Another example of continuous monitoring that deals with security, only it's the physical side of security. We know there's lots of budget that has been spent on cameras, gates, guards, badges, infrared detection, fencing, security guards, as well as humans to monitor physical security. And now we're looking at AI being implemented to monitor physical security. And in some installations where it's mission critical, battle ready, There's automated systems that if you trespass, you're going past that one gate, you're going past the next gate. You probably don't want to see those automatic machine guns that are pointed at you that will take that bad actor out in a half a second. Physical security with real-time alerts. We know this is already there. Another example of that security continuous monitoring, however, in the physical world, not the cybersecurity world. In the past year or two, Forbes Technology Council had a report that came out that said cybersecurity threat incidents by insiders rose 47% more between 2018 and 2020. And it's a fact that over 80% of all losses still to this day are done by insider threats or bad actors who have the knowledge and the experience. So what is being done on the IBM mainframes for real-time alerting and real-time monitoring of the critical areas within system and security that could lead to the immediate compromise of the system, the application, and data? What's being done today in your organization? Security continuous monitoring is just that. It is 24/7, real-time monitoring every second, every minute, with real-time alerts that informs you a bad actor or a change or where someone accessed sensitive data that shouldn't have happened that could lead to the compromise of the computing platform, the applications, and data. And when we say the computing platform, let's not forget how many mainframes in your organization are interconnected. And if I can compromise one, I can use that as a platform to compromise all of them. We must have a modern security continuous monitoring solution that's implemented and fully adopted to reduce your risk. Perhaps some of us have thought mainframes could not be hacked. I know that's an old thought. Sadly, that's just not the case. While it is the most secureable platform, it has been hacked publicly. And all it takes is one insider or hacker to perform bad actor actions that will lead to compromise. I know none of us desire to be on news tonight, 6 p.m., CNN, about that incident from 2 days ago. We don't want to be on the news about a compromised system, loss of sensitive business or customer data, or worse. All of our organizations want to be on the news for positive news, right? But back in 2012, the co-founder of Pirate Bay was found guilty of hacking an IBM mainframe in Sweden, just your backyard. They used a compromised user ID to then download the entire RACF database off that system. And then they utilized the PC hacker tool, password cracking tool known as John the Ripper, to crack over 30,000 passwords in that RACF database. They obtained the keys to the kingdom and all of the data. If a security continuous monitoring solution was in place, alerting to bad actor behavior, I doubt the hack would have been successful. Can your company, organization afford a data breach? Think of the fines, the public backlash, the loss of reputation. We know, I know, probably the same as with you, we won't shop at a company that allows sensitive credit card data or other sensitive data or your credentials to be stolen. We just won't use them anymore. What's the impact? The true challenge is most organizations have implemented and adopted distributed server solutions and performing security continuous monitoring on those platforms. However, they have not yet thought about the mainframe. We know it's often the neglected platform. It's that thing behind the locked door. It's in the closet behind the locked door. Don't open that door. They talk a different language, a different lingo. It's a different dialect. And we're really confused by what is an APF and what is a PDS and all these foreign terms. That's a fact. But it's also a fact that modern mainframe cybersecurity solutions exist today to solve this challenge. They're robust. And with a robust security monitoring solution, you'll also need to have a playbook that documents how to, what should be monitored, who should be notified, why should we be doing this monitoring, and what should that alert be? A typical definition of a playbook is a book of plays, of tactics and methods to win the game. We are all here to win the game against insider threats, bad actors, hackers, and so many other things. And let's not forget, we're here to win the game and prevent accidents from happening, because that does happen in this world. That is why you have car insurance or auto insurance. It's why you have homeowners insurance. It's why you have health insurance. And security continuous monitoring solutions is an insurance solution for your company to reduce risk. The most obvious playbooks are those in sports, from team members participating in school sports to national level and international level. And beyond sports, there's all sorts of playbooks that are used in many different organizations for many different purposes. I've seen back to business playbooks for how to recover from COVID and get your employees back into the game. We've seen incident response playbooks on how to respond to incidents. There are stock option playbooks on how to be successful and win at that game. And of course, all of us probably are very well aware of sports and football playbooks on how to win at playing soccer, or how to win playing at basketball, or how to win at cycling, whatever the sporting event happens to be. You need a playbook on how to have the tactics, the strategy, the vision of winning. So a playbook defines that what are the needs that need to be done to win the game, breaking the team strategy down into actionable items, defining the roles and the responsibilities in order to be successful at what you want to win at. It translates a vision and a strategy into tactics. In the case of information security monitoring, it defines what should be monitored, who should be notified, what are the actions to be taken, and other such important details. An important area is, who are the players? When we talk about the players, to me, that's so important to have them well defined in your playbook. Good offenses don't practice against the second string. They want the challenge of beating the first string. When we talk about security continuous monitoring the mainframe, the players should be roles such as the ESM administrators, RACF, ACF2, top secret administrators. Their internal auditors or compliance team members should be involved. The system programmers, your network administrators, your SOC team members, and all the different appropriate management with specific oversight of those specific areas that we are monitoring and alerting to. And of course, ask the collective team, who else should be a member? Who should be involved in this? And as you may notice on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, lower side, we can't forget the bad actors or the hackers. Often they will say it's just, hey, I'm doing this out of curiosity. Yeah, not really, not anymore. So let's talk a little bit about what should be monitored and how often. A lot of things come to mind, and some simple areas come to mind, such as we should be monitoring for any changes to critical PDSs or PDSEs on the operating system or the mainframe. These can be including sys1 prime lib as an obvious one. What are other so not obvious ones that could lead to the compromise of your mainframe? Your system level proc libs that are allocated in JES2 or JES3. if someone can update or override the proc for the trusted started tasks, as IBM has a whole list of started tasks that are trusted, such as JES2, I can update it. I can inject JCL a step up front. So the next time JES2 is started, that executes as a trusted step. Now bypasses all security and system controls. Oh, wait, now this other ID that's an FTP ID has all this bypassing of security privileges. And no one knew because no one's monitoring the updates to your trusted started tasks. And in my opinion, no one should have update access to those proc libs full time. Not in the zero trust world. Same with ParmLib. Talking about ParmLib and these critical PDS as an example, not only should you notify sys1 ParmLib or sys1 ProcLib was changed, she provided that notification a lot more details, and we'll get into that in a moment. What other areas should be monitored? The security ESM control options, whether it's top secret, ACF2, or RACF. Those areas absolutely should be monitored, as well as access controls or resource access permissions, whatever you want to call them, entitlements to critical resources. If all of a sudden Tom Smith got granted access to Opera Command nvs.setprog, where now he can dynamically APF authorize load libraries, and that's not his role, and he shouldn't have that access, someone should be alerted to that change of security. So it's not just monitoring critical PDSs, files, file integrity, and those such areas. It's also monitoring the actual security controls. It's called defense in depth. Not only do you want to monitor the change of security, you want to monitor Tom Smith used that access Opera Command nvs.setprog and send out an alert, because 3 days ago he got access. He normally works during the day, but at 2:45 a.m., 48 hours ago, he dynamically APF authorized his own personal load library, and that should be a huge red flag to auditors and all team members. So there's lots of areas to monitor. And we must not forget, once we get a lot of the system areas monitored, set up and actively monitored where the alerts are being ran, we need to expand that out to the applications, their critical resources, and the data, because that's what it's all about, is protecting that sensitive data. Who to notify? Many organizations think we should just notify the SOC team and let them handle it. Well, if you send to the SOC team that user ABC1234 dynamically APF authorized ABC1234.load, I'm going to bet you dinner that 99% of the SOC team would have no idea the importance of that alert, as opposed to all the alerts they're getting from the 2,000 other distributed systems they're having to monitor. They may know Windows and Linux. They have no idea what this mainframe thing is. So not only is it important to who to notify, but it's important what the notification says. Best practices say notify your SOC team. And I'll give some examples here. Someone APF authorized the personal load library 48 hours ago. The notification should be sent to the SOC team, the mainframe system manager management team, while copying the internal compliance team, the internal audit team, and the security team. And oh, by the way, when you say notify the system management team, in this case and in other areas that are critical to the operating system, I believe those should be SMS messages sent to their smartphone devices, so they're instantly alerted at 2 a.m. in the morning, or 3 or 2:46 after Tom Smith APF authorized his load library. That's a simple thing to do. You send the alert to the phone number at the service provider like AT&T.net or others. And you could use the email, just you add the additional who's copied. The same goes for an example of updating sys1 parm lib. You send the notification to the SOC team, to your SIM, to your ZOS team management, and the internal compliance team. Changes to critical areas in security ESMs, changing ACF2 from abort to warn. Immediately, the alert goes to the SOC team. There's a WTO on the system monitor. The security management team is notified through an SMS text. The security team is notified through SMS text, perhaps, and the internal compliance team so they can follow up and validate the next day. So there's lots of different roles to be notified. Now, what are the actions that should be taken? Not only should be providing notification, but you should be providing what are those actions based upon the particular item that should be taken. As I gave you the example of an APF authorized load library being sent to the SOC team, you wouldn't want to just put that in the notification. You want to be explicit to the SOC team and other people. This is what happened. This is the recommended steps to take. And who needs to be called or contacted to take those steps. In the case of updates to these critical PDSs and parm libs and proc libs, you want to notify the SOC team and everyone that not only did the data set change, which member in that data set changed, and oh, by the way, some of these PDS members can be 2,000 or 5,000 lines long. So which of that changed? Was it just a comment that changed? Or did someone change something critical to the operating system, like injecting JCL into JES2? So the alert should not just provide the what was changed, data set, PDS member, who changed it, the date and timestamp. It should absolutely include what the delta was changed. This APF was changed from this data set to this data set. Okay, that's easy to confirm. JES2 was changed and someone injected unauthorized JCL step into JES2. Whoa, red flag, fire, alert, alert. We need to take action. We need to be proactive. That's so important in these alerts. The other thing to consider about alerting and providing alerts, we want to make sure that we're not sending down off the mainframe every single stinking SMF record. Mainframes create millions, if not billions, of records a day. A lot of that is pure noise. We want to make sure these alerts are actionable, because people who just get noise, they're going to stop paying attention. That's human nature. We want actionable alerts, actionable events, and these are the types of things that should be in the playbook. So let's go through an example of a playbook. This example was actually developed in collaboration with one of our customers. And we all love collaborating because most often it produces a higher quality result. The ask was, well, Steve, what should be monitored in the mainframe on a TSS top secret managed system, and who should be notified? So here you see at the top of the playbook, this is a Word document that we will share out to everyone, whoever wants it. And it lists the purpose of the playbook, the scope, what external security managers are involved with, and what the risk is, as well as some really good solid references to security controls in a general broad sense, and how do you apply that to the mainframe. The next you'll find is a table of contents. While this shows you that we have right here 13 on the screen, it was impossible for me to include all 33 on one slide, so I didn't. This is just a start. This is not all inclusive, but these are the things that came to mind for what should be monitored within top secret managed systems. A starting point. One of the questions I'm often asked is, will this example, this playbook be made available to the attendees of the GSE conference? Yes, I'll get to that in a little bit. So we go through the different items. Some of these are higher, as you'll find out, and we list it within each item, the sensitivity or the critical level, etc. In this particular item, it's about the mode. And the mode for top secret would allow you to either fail everything as it should be, or you can put the mode into mode warn or different other modes. And if it's in mode warn, that means you still get violations, but the access is still granted. And in this case, it's critical to monitor the global mode setting as well as the facility mode settings. If someone was to change the facility mode settings for TCP/IP facility and top secret as an example, from fail to mode warn, any FTP user could make any changes to sys1 PalmLab or numerous other critical resources, or they could download with unfettered access, or they could change, modify data. That would be absolutely a disaster. And that's why in this case, the severity is 1 or high. In the severity category, you'll see high, 1 high, 2 medium, and 3 low. You'll also find the status. And the status is important for you as an organization to continuously update this. Have you implemented this monitoring? Are you planning to implement this monitoring? Is it in progress? Was it completed? What was the date it was completed? And so forth. Date with the status is important so that your internal audit team and compliance team can know this is what we're doing for continuous monitoring, security continuous monitoring. This is where we're at with the journey. And these are the next things we're going to be implementing our plans of action moving forward. You'll find STIG references. STIGs are Security Technical Implementation Guides. Both DoD and the US has published some. I spent 20 years doing that when I worked at DISA, writing STIG articles and publishing them. Developing and finding vulnerabilities and developing mitigating controls for those. Since moving to Broadcom 3.5 years ago, we've started publishing our own vendor STIGs for our own solutions from Top Secret, ACF2, SysView, Endeavor, IDMS, and many other mainframe solutions will have security technical implementation guides written and made publicly available to help you secure your systems. You'll see references here on each one of these items in the playbook, as well as how to, what to change, and STIG articles to help you in the journey. Remember, every mainframe that's interconnected must be secured equally, secured robustly, and have a security continuous monitoring solution that monitors 24/7. Otherwise, one can be compromised, leading to your complete enterprise being compromised. Next in a playbook article or in a play is the sensitivity level, explaining why the sensitivity, some guidance on why this should be monitored, what should be monitored, and how to do the monitoring. Of course, in your organization, you want to take this playbook and edit this and adopt it to yours. That's why it's going to be provided as a Word document to help you in the journey as value added. I want my personal data, if it's on your mainframes, to be secured. And I'm sure all of you want your personal data on other mainframes to be secured equally. We're all on this journey together. Next in the play is what the alert what it should be, who to notify. And you'll notice here, it's just some vague general terms here, but you want to make that the robust, what your notification process is for each item, because each item should notify different teams potentially based upon their scope and responsibility, who should take action, what the action should be. And you notice that's the last thing here. So let's go back over what should be monitored again and how often. How often is the no-brainer? 24/7, every second, real time, every minute, all the time, on all your mainframe systems. If you're not doing that, you don't know what happened 5 minutes ago, what happened last night when you were sleeping soundly, what happens tonight that might keep you awake now you think about this. What happened 2 months ago that you don't know happened, now is your mainframe compromised? We need to ensure security continuous monitoring solutions are implemented and fully adopted, not just at the mainframe level, but across the mainframes, the applications, and of course, helping protect the critical data. Critical changes to ZOS and USS. We can't forget the USS side of things. It's amazing when we talk with customers how often they're like, USS what? Well, did you know you can APF authorize a file in USS? And that allows you to bypass security controls and system controls. And oh, by the way, at Black Hat for the last 5 years, they've been teaching how to hack mainframe 101 from the USS side because hackers know the Unix commands already. Let's ensure that's monitored. Let's ensure that's secured properly and fully. We want to monitor changes to APF and all the critical privileged load libraries on your system, linked list, LPA, and so forth. A lot of these are in the STIGs, covered in the security technical implementation guides, as well as what IBM has recently published in the CIS guide for RACF. You want to monitor the critical security settings, top secret control options, ACF2 GSO options, RACF setter ops. While we talk about RACF, you better be reviewing and monitoring your global access table to ensure you don't have inappropriate permissions in there. And in my opinion, global access table should never be used anymore in this zero trust world, because you can grant access that users can have that are not even defined. And if you have any universal access or UACs out there with greater access than none, please review those and monitor for that moving forward. You need to monitor the critical security entitlements and resource access controls, both at the system level and at the application level. Who updated the application proc labs or the source control and Endeavor or whatever your CM package happens to be? Did they update that outside of the normal standard process? Did they update the load library with an unauthorized change where now they're adding $1 for every $1 million that is sent off to the treasury? These are all important areas to monitor. How are you doing that today? There's robust solutions today that exist. Broadcom has compliance event management, CEM, compliant event manager, and there's other solutions on the market today that provide for robust security continuous monitoring. Please look forward to doing that. Now, what are your next steps? If you'd like a copy of the current ISCM or Security Continuous Monitoring Playbook for Top Secret, shoot me an email. If you'd like to look at and collaborate with me on the ACF2 playbook or the RACF playbook, I'll be glad to collaborate with you on those, develop those, and get those published for the open community on how to do a better job at securing the data and systems and reducing risk to your data and my data, my family's data, and your family's data. We're all in this together. I want to implore you to explore the modern mainframe security continuous monitoring solutions such as Compliance Event Monitor and others. I want you to investigate your company, to investigate and acquire a modern cybersecurity solution for security continuous monitoring on the mainframe and reduce your risk. Eliminate the insider risk and the bad actor actions. And when you do that, you need to always look at starting small. Don't try to boil the ocean. Don't cause production outages. That's not what we want. We want more secure systems, better security, reduce risk. Let's avoid being on the CNN news at 6 p.m. tonight. You should start with those critical security and operating system areas. And please remember to include the USS. And once you have most of that done, start socializing this with the application owners, the system managers of those applications, and find out what within the applications is critical and implement and adopt it in those areas to help them out in their journey and reduce the true risk in the applications and the data. I want you and your family to be able to go to the grocery store and not be stuck with a grocery cart full of food that you can't pay for because someone hacked the systems. I want us to be able to securely go to the fuel station, the petrol station, the gas station, when I so often am on fumes because that's just why I am. I have adult ADHD, so I run, hopefully not with scissors, but sometimes I run out, I get low on fuel in my car and I pull up when it's on, the little gas guy showing. I want to be able to get fuel so me and my family can get home on our journey. And the same with yours. So let's work together to be a better, secured environment and improve the security of mainframes that we touch. And how do we do that collectively together as a community? Here's my contact information. Yes, if you're on Facebook, there is indeed a Facebook group out there with professional mainframers that actually has over 10,300 mainframers now. Started 2 years ago. And please feel free to reach out to me anytime. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Steve. So yeah, any questions, anybody, you can unmute your line if you like. And if you want to ask a question live, or you can post a question in the chat. And the Wizard of Oz, wonder who that might be. It's not a question, he says, but in regards to what data sets do you need to watch? He says, don't forget logon, proc, concatenated execs and C lists, absolutely. Nothing beats adding a little if user or RACF admin then address to log on. Yes,
That's absolutely correct. Even more so now where
yes.
I was privileged execs that can be privileged. And the RACF password exit, the RACF passphrase exit are now in is a C list privileged exec library. Absolutely, those areas have to be monitored. Just no differently than sys1 prom live, proc live, and many others. Absolutely spot on. Thank you.
Yep. So anybody wants to unmute their line and fire a question away?
I have a question. Has this session helped you in your journey? And one of the things I believe, and I know Mark Nelson and so many others in this community, we all believe that knowledge is powerful, and none of us believe that it's best to be an island of one. We all believe that shared knowledge is even more powerful. It enables and empowers so many others to do so much more. I'm hoping today's session has added the value to you and enabled you. And if so, please let me know. And if there's other questions, by all means, ask.
Yep. So I would say yes, Steve. But I think one of the things, a couple of things I was going to ask you actually is, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, that the whole we sort of talk about, and Henry talked about it yesterday about open source and things. And I think one of the things we're really lacking in the mainframe world is a community. I mean, you're doing it, of course, but like a community-driven set of security standards for the mainframe that like vendors are contributing towards, and or mainframe users around the world, and it's like a central repository where you can go to. Now, one could argue, well, DISA stinks, but that's targeted, isn't it, at set organizations? But I think it's something like that is needed. And I wonder, what's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely positive. And Mark presented in his slides yesterday, as well as at Share, and it's a repeated story for IBM. They finally submitted some standards to the CIS organization for RACF and in the IBM mainframes. Broadcom has been proactively in this area since I came aboard. We are publishing our own STIG articles that are available openly to the public in tech docs for top secret ACF2, as well as for Endeavor and many IDMS, SysView, and many of our mainframe non-security products are coming out with published STIGs. And you'll find them out there in tech docs under using STIG articles or under using STIGs. And that's so important to the journey. Spot on. I encourage all vendors to do this for their own mainframe solutions. They have the knowledge on how best to secure their solution without using UID 0, because that we continue to see vendors come out with just put UID 0 on the started task, and that's not the appropriate thing. We need better documentation by the subject matter experts across the industries to help our customers ensure security while utilizing these world-class solutions and maximizing the capability whether that's SysView or CA7, ACF2, RACF, top secret. So the mainframe is more secure. So the auditors, this is the important thing. These standards not only give the security administrators the ability to ensure security is properly placed, these are documented, measurable standards that the auditors and compliance teams can start asking smart, intelligent, informed questions. I need evidence of how you're doing, how this is implemented, as you're saying this is implemented now. Show me who has access to Sys1 Parmline. Show me who has RACF special. Because now it's in a document, I can say, I want verification evidence. And that's the completion of the journey. That's the full circle from implementation, measurable, validated, completed. Are we secure? That's the story. And security continuous monitoring is required because you can say you've implemented. What happened 5 minutes afterwards? What happened 2 hours later? You may have a process that validates monthly or weekly. That's not security continuous monitoring with real-time alerts. Right? Does that answer the question or suggestion, Jamie?
Yeah, so I mean, I was just thinking actually about like sort of our role in GuideShare Europe. That so you know we are. I mean, at the end of the day, we're a security working group. So I think that's maybe something that we could, as a working group, sort of focus on as a you know like a community-driven, you know, working with the vendors and all the users of GSE and the wider community as well. You know, to come up with a set of
I can't speak for Mark Wilson, but you have me, you have me, you have me.
Don't worry, we'll rope him in. No,
I'm absolutely passionate about this area, so yes.
Yeah. So it's got me thinking anyway. Sue, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, Jamie, I mean, we have got RACFL for one thing, but maybe we need a community like that as well.
Yeah, I just think, you know what it's like, you want a central repository to go to, a bit like GitHub, right? And you want like basically a checklist that people can just, you know, it's controlled of course, but people can contribute to, like I said, whether it's users or vendors, and it's just a set of, you know, things, you know, that sort of best practices, as it were, controls with all the different products, or, you know, middleware, whatever it is, RACF, ACF2, top secret, you know, that's just basically community driven and community maintained. Like I said, there's things out there, I know, you know, that mention the DSA sticks and stuff, but it's very something that's very targeted, isn't it?
And in some countries, they're not able to download the DSA sticks.
No.
And that's also why there's a website out there called mainframestig.com, and you'll find out there that STIG articles are being posted. It will have the reference to IBM's articles that were available now in CIS. Those will get posted out there. It is just a website to provide that capability for organizations around the world. That's not a .mil site where they're able to download and access all sorts of information from a cybersecurity standard for mainframes.
Yeah, and I know some countries, when I was working for IBM, traveling around, some countries never even heard of what STIGs, you know, it doesn't, particularly if you're going far east, you know.
Yeah. There's organizations that haven't thought of security continuous monitoring on the mainframe.
No, definitely not. Any other questions or thoughts from anybody? I do have one more for you, Steve, but I don't want to kind of hog the, I want to give other people the opportunity. You mentioned about zero trust, and this, you know, there's a lot of discussion around that at the moment, particularly if you are working in cybersecurity, you will hear it, you know, and the last place I was working at, that they were trying to, they were aiming towards it, and so there was, you know, a lot of talk about it. But from a mainframe standpoint, I mean, zero trust, when I that term, you start to sort of learn phrases like just in time access. Now, you mentioned like about not having permanent access to like sys1.parmlib, so that would be a classic, you know, case for, you know, zero trust, in that you get a privilege when you need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
And
love
so,
the question.
so,
Right.
so my question to you is, with the mainframe and its heritage, and particularly some of the organisations here that are on, listening in today, and years and years and years of, these systems have been running, how practical it is to put zero trust on them, have zero trust model in the mainframe environment.
First of all, zero trust is not a single solution. It is a journey. Part of the journey we're on. And actually, zero trust came out, I think, in 1996 is when the term was coined, way back then. And as things take, it takes time for all of us to grasp and consider and understand and learn more about this concept. Zero trust is important for everything. Least privileged access has been known for decades, but it all depends on who you talk with, of course. So when we talk in the mainframe, zero trust, there's been some solutions that use vaulted passwords and user IDs, and that is so out of date, an old, out of date methodology for providing privileged access management in the mainframe. When we talk about modern cybersecurity solutions, the modern mainframe, Z16, you can have up to 40 terabyte of RAM. I mean, this stuff is amazing. But when we talk about cybersecurity, we need to look at what is the modern cybersecurity methods that are out there. And there's a vendor who has a dynamic, just-in-time privileged access management capability that ties it to the service desk tickets. So when you need update access to sys1 PalmLab, and it's approved in a change request or an incident ticket, you get that elevated access for that time box window. And it's easy to use. And both auditors and users, system programmers, and security, and all these different types of roles, they love it because it is just in time, dynamic, and it ties it to your single user ID. It doesn't have other user IDs that you somehow have to have all these different audit trails to tie it back to Tom Smith. It ties it to your assigned user ID. It allows the organization to reduce that. And that's a modern method moving forward. Dynamic, just-in-time privileged access. That's a great question. There are solutions for that. And I'll be glad to talk to anybody who would like to talk about that.
Sure. I mean, I know zero trust means a lot of things. I mean, one of the other things you have to do MFA that works. And it was quite interesting, actually, because there's a new European, I forget what it is now, it's regulatory stuff around cybersecurity. And that there's a statement in there saying that the organization, I forget the words, it's something needs to move towards a zero trust model. So that to me is like, okay, you're almost stipulating there you've got to prepare for it, and then at some point in the future we're actually going to write in here you must have a zero trust model. So I think it's kind of trying to warm the industry up. We've got to head in this direction, and eventually it will be mandatory in a lot of these regulatory requirements.
I love Dora. I see Dora coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And how will Dora impact all of you? And not just all of you, all of those around the world, because mainframes around the world, organizations have mainframes in different countries. Depending upon what a country's law is, if they're able to process that data out of country, or is it required to be processed in country? And so organizations now are having data centers in other countries where they didn't previously. And so all these different regulations, such as DORA, are going to have a huge impact, and hopefully in a positive way, to better secure the data for our customers and for ourselves, our families.
Yeah, certainly keep us busy for a few more years.
Job security.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So we're almost at the end of Steve's session. So any final comments from anybody before we close? I
want to say thank you to everybody who attended this session. Cybersecurity is so important to me. It's important to all of us. Hopefully all of us are as passionate as I am. Sometimes I might be a little too passionate, but nonetheless, I want to say thank you for you choosing to be in the profession that you've chosen, and for continuing to do the excellent, outstanding work you do every day. It's not easy. I remember sometimes in fact, always you're putting out fires. Sometimes you may have been issued a fire hose to put some of those fires out. And some days you feel like you have that teeny little small squirt gun that's only half full of water. So I appreciate all the hard work you do, and I look forward to presenting in the future and hopefully hearing you share your knowledge with me in the future as well. That's value added.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thanks for coming to present to us once again. And I've just put the link to feedback. So thank you, Steve, for bringing your slide up. Yeah, session 7K, you can click on the link in the chat, or Steve has brought up a slide there. You can click on scan the QR code and it will take you directly to the website. Steve, did you have another slide you wanted to show? I just saw something else flash up there.
No, I just wanted to share that there's 3 mainframe technical exchanges that are coming up. These are no cost to all customers to attend, and it is all about exchanging mainframe technical information. There's one in Europe, in Prague, in April. There's a North American one that'll be in Plano, Texas, in June, and then there's a global event scheduled in October.
Great stuff.
Link at the bottom, which will be in the slide deck, is available right there for more information.
Great, thank you. And Steve has uploaded his slides to the GSE website, so you'll be able to download those. So this is the last session for the day from the security stream, but the conference hasn't finished yet. So at 5 o'clock UK time, there's a keynote from Broadcom. Steve's colleague, Greg, will be doing a presentation there, so well worth joining if you can. Then tomorrow, the 3rd day of the conference, we're having a little bit more of an earlier start tomorrow. So sorry, I have to get out of bed a little bit earlier, but it's an 8 o'clock start for the keynote with Mark Wilson. And then there is a BMC keynote session at 8:15 with John McKenney. And then in the security stream, we have our first session at 9 o'clock with Christian Karachi, and he will be talking about digital forensics. So hopefully you can join us for that. And we've got a full day of security sessions again. So thanks for sticking with us, folks. Really appreciate it. I think it's been a really good day. I think we had very good attendance actually with in the security working group. So thank you for supporting us. And if you don't join the keynote, have a lovely evening, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Sorry, Steve.
Thing, Jamie. I want to say a huge thank you for our hosts, Jamie and Sue, and everyone that's been part of this program and helping put this together. Knowledge shared is empowering and enabling. Let's do more of it.
Absolutely. What is it they say? A problem shared is a problem halved. I've got plenty of those in security. Thanks, Steve, ever so much. Take care. See you, everyone. Bye.